Imam Siraj Rahaj was named as a possible unindicted co-conspirator in the 1993 World Trade Center bombing and testified as a character witness at the trial of the convicted terror mastermind Sheikh Omar Abdul Rahman. Imam Malik Ali frequents American university campuses and is known for anti-Semitic racist speeches and recitations of a pledge based on the Muslim Brotherhood's creed saying, "Jihad is my spirit and I will die to establish Islam."
They are living in fear. They are living in straight up fear.
A disturbing controversy arose when the Council of American Islamic Relations, CAIR, manipulated video footage to portray that a group of hate-speaking hecklers were representative and a part of the rally put on by Southern California citizens at a speech of two controversial imams at this community center in Orange County, California. The controversy began when the sponsoring organization, the Islamic Circle of North America, ICNA, did not apply for an event permit directly, but had a resident of Yorba Linda do so. This obfuscated the event's true nature and purpose.
Apparently, the community center was reserved on January 4th by a resident who said that there would be a fundraiser, and it was just one individual. And I was at a political meeting the first week in February with another councilman, John Anderson, and we heard that there was going to be a meeting with two radical Islamic speakers.
Do you support Islamic Jihad?
Yes.
And we were unaware as to where that would occur. And it soon came to light that it was going to be at our community center. And in further checking, we found once again that it was not actually an individual that was hosting the fundraiser, but an out-of-town group. At that point, we had a meeting at City Hall, and it was with Shakil Syed of the Islamic Sharia Council. We asked, John Anderson asked, if they would consider either changing the speakers or canceling the event, and they flatly said they would not. In addition to that, Shakil waved his finger in our face and said, "We have freedom of speech, we have every right to be here, whether we're citizens or not."
Yorba Linda residents then decided to act on their own free speech rights. They planned a responsive rally to say that the two extreme Islamist speakers were not welcome in the Yorba Linda community. To further complicate the whole controversy, CAIR released a video that, rally organizers claims, is doctored and misrepresents the event. It juxtaposed the hecklers at night with U.S. elected officials speaking in daylight, implying that they were the same group.
The hecklers appeared and assembled on this side of the hedge. There was a yellow police tape that extended into the parking lot. And so as the attendees for the fundraiser arrived, they were coming down and turning into this area, and the hecklers were assembled along that hedge. And then our organized rally was way over on this other side of the park area on the lawn at the end of the parking lot.
Up over the hill.
Yes, up over the hill.
We realized that we were going to be using a truck bed for the actual platform. So the truck was right here, and we were standing on the bed, and then all of our crowd was out here into the hillside, and so gathered up there on top of the hill.
Now, where's the community center?
And the community center is over there, across the lawn, and then the entrance is down where the white fence and the hedge are.
This is the evidence with which the rally organizers show that the CAIR video was significantly doctored in order to juxtapose this unknown group of hate-speaking people next to U.S. congressmen, all for the purpose, their argument suggests, to defame a civil and orderly rally to protest activist radical Islamists.
But in order for Palestine to be free, in order for Palestine, for there to be peace in Palestine, the Muslims, we have to control them. And so the Palestinians, when they went to the polls, they voted for our heroes, Hamas. And make no mistake about it, Hamas are our heroes. Because if you reject Hamas, if you reject them, then you are following their definitions. If you reject Hamas, you are following their concepts. If you reject Hamas, you are following their feelings. And do not do that. Allah says, or the fire of hell will touch you. So we say, no, not terrorists, freedom fighters. These are our definitions, rooted in the Quran and the Sunnah. And we don't care what they call us as a result of standing on our definition. You can call us what you want, but we're going to stand on this truth. And we are here to say that Hamas, these are freedom fighters. Hamas, these are our heroes. Hamas, these are our role models.
And they're pro-IDF. All right? I'm pro-Hamas.
Do you believe, Malik Ali, being brought here year after year, that Hamas, the terrorist group, Hezbollah, Islamic Jihad, do you believe that they are terrorist groups? Do you support Hamas?
Yes.
Do you support Hezbollah?
Yes.
Do you support Islamic Jihad?
Yes.
Come at you with these labels. Radical Islam, as opposed to Islam. What is radical Islam? What is radical Islam? We're Muslims. We're supposed to live, in a Muslim environment, right? We're supposed to have Muslim institutions. We're supposed to have Muslim governments. We're talking about radical Islam. That's just Islam. That's all it is. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, started off with himself and a couple other people. 23 years later, they established Islamic government. What are you talking about? Radical Islam. Does the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, practice radical Islam? As opposed to unradical Islam. There's Islam. No such thing as radical Islam. Silence is consent.
First of all, I applaud the City Council members, less Ms. Polly, for allowing us to come and share our genuine concerns to you. I also like to acknowledge the fact that what Ms. Polly did and said is not reflective of either of four of you or of the great people of City of Villa Park. We applaud you, we love you, we respect you. For Ms. Polly, my request to you and my appeal to you as a man of faith, to a sister of faith that I believe in, without which my faith is incomplete. We ask of you only one thing. We all make mistakes. We all do. I did in my life. And you did too. All you have to do is, I offer my apology, end of story, and we will celebrate you. But if you defy, then know that the best of America that's outside, perhaps remember always that you brought nothing but divisiveness, hate, anger against a people who also believe in Christianity and Judaism and its prophets and its books.
They operate by instilling fear. Our Creator, the same Creator referenced in our Declaration of Independence, tells us repeatedly in the Holy Scriptures to fear not. But I have been afraid to speak up because they want you to be afraid. They want you to be afraid of them. They want you to be afraid of being called intolerant.
But if you defy, then know that the best of America that's outside chanting slogans against you
with intimidation, oppression, threats of violence, rumors of violence, well-publicized beheadings. Us who know what's going on have been cowed into silence out of fear.
Will perhaps remember always that you brought nothing but divisiveness, hate, anger.
They are baiting us, and they are daring us to challenge them and to call them out for what they are doing.
These times will pass, but there will be a day when you and I will stand
3 minutes,
in front of
Mr.
our
Mayor.
Creator.
In addition to that, Shaquille waved his finger in our face and said, "We have freedom of speech. We have every right to be here, whether we're citizens or not."
They operate by instilling fear.
And I ask of you to kneel down and pray to God Almighty, who created you and who created I, to ask for forgiveness, let alone what happened on February 21st, let alone what is happening today.
Your statements referring to Muslims as terrorists was irresponsible and disrespectful.
They would be condemning these terrorist instigators instead of inviting them to be their keynote speakers.
Community Center, 2 imams who are members of Muslim Brotherhood. Ultimate goal is to reestablish Islamic Caliphate and implement Sharia law in the West, including the United States of America.
An even greater challenge. Now, I'm going to just quote some of the comments that Imam Siraj Wahhaj have made in the past. He says, "This so-called democracy will crumble, and there will be nothing. And the only thing that will remain will be Islam." Well, I think our reservists and I think our veterans will have something to say about that.
Matter of fact, I know quite a few Marines who will be very happy to help these terrorists to an early meeting in paradise.
My understanding of what she said, she was referring to 2 people, called them terrorists, and said she has 2 sons who can send them to paradise.
But it's not acceptable to then turn their opposition into a shameful and hateful attack on an entire religion.
You can practice religion or not. This one or that, we don't care. That is fine, but that is not what they believe. You will be Muslim or you won't be anymore. That is not freedom. They use our freedom of assembly against us.
When our nation's foundational values of inclusiveness, pluralism, and equality are attacked by some in favor of calls for advocating hate and violence, then all Americans have a responsibility to challenge and expose such bigotry and those who enable it.
They are using our freedom of speech against us. They are free to speak, but if we say anything about it, they claim that we are suppressing their right to free speech.
Instead of finding excuses, Councilwoman Pauley should have the integrity to take responsibility for participating in and enabling this shameful and hateful incident against peaceful families and children.
Go to subsidize the military occupation.
Guilty by association, and one is guilty because they alleged
Muslim terrorist. She didn't say terrorist as in Jewish, Christian, atheist, anything.
That the protest was about those 2 speakers.
It started that.
Okay, great. And do you also recognize that the official event was different than the hecklers at the end?
That's exactly what
I don't know.
Ms. Pauley, you have failed as a political leader because of the divisiveness of your city and now of this region.
Let's go home! Let's go home! Let's go
And the city council bears the responsibility for this divisiveness. And I don't know what is worse. Your statement that licenses murder of anyone that wants to be deemed a terrorist, that you deem a terrorist. I don't know if you have ever been called a terrorist, Ms. Polly. I don't know if any of you city council members have been called a terrorist or worry about your children being called a terrorist and this dehumanization. So I don't know what is worse, your license to murder individuals you deem terrorists.
Excuse me.
What is worse is the vitriol I hear today, what you have licensed.
Where they have massive rallies and protests, and people don't. Please tell me, what is it that you guys want to do?
We're just against that. The lady in there said that we're terrorists.
That there's so much ignorance that means so much education.
Do you agree that the protest was about those two speakers?
It started that. Maybe.
Okay.
All you have to do is, I offer my apology, end of story, and we will celebrate you. But if you